Hey everybody, welcome to Board Game Heaven. My name's Raymond, and in this episode I'm taking a look at some of these Dungeons and Dragons sets by Wizards of the Coast, starting with the starter set, which is great for beginning players of Dungeons and Dragons, followed by the recently published Essentials kit, which is a follow-up on this box, but can also be played as a starter kit as well as these core set books. This is a slipcase that includes the Player's Handbook, the Dungeon Master's Guide, the Monster Guide, and a Dungeon Master's screen. So let's take a look at what's in these boxes, and then I'll tell you what you can expect to be doing with these sets. So the D&D 5th edition starter set. Let's take a look at the box itself. It has a nice dragon on the front with a brave knight fighting it. And on the back you'll see what is in the box. So you got a booklet here with some scenarios. There's some dice in there. So you get the adventure book, the rule book, and 5 pre-generated characters. So let's take a look at all that. So these dice come in a plastic baggie, of course, but you get these cool looking dice that you need for D&D. So you get, let's have a closer look at those. So you get a D6 die, just one of those, and they're all in nice marbled blue color here. So you get your D6, you get a D10, and there's a D12 here, a D8, the D4, and of course the D20, which is the most important die in 5th edition. So you get those. There's no D100. Usually you get a D10 and a D100. With those sets you get 7 dice. This set only has 6, so that's a bit strange, but you might not need it that much. So then you get the starter set rulebook here, which in a very short way explains how to play the game. Really just the core basics are in here, and that is enough to get you started, which is of course the whole meaning of this box. So it has some nice illustrations, and it is laid out exactly as the bigger books, as the Player's Handbook and such. So yeah, it has a couple of chapters which you can easily get through. You can just read this fairly quickly and get a good idea of how the game plays if you're new to the game. Then there is this scenario book, which is a nice and relatively thick campaign book, and it has several parts here. As you can see, there's a part with a goblin ambush. Well, I don't want to spoil too much, but it takes new characters starting at level 1 through this story, and there's 4 parts in all with some appendices, and there's a rules index on the back as well that refers to the rule book. And of course you get all these tables for your monsters, so you can look up what they do and how strong they are, etc. It has lots of nice illustrations, as we are used to from these sort of books for Dungeons and Dragons. So that's pretty cool. I'll just flip through this really quickly. I don't want to give too much away if you haven't played this scenario yet. And it is a pretty good scenario. It's really nice, really great for new players. It has a bit of everything, so that's pretty cool. Next, there are these pre-generated character sheets. So you've got your fighter, a human fighter, with everything already filled in, so you don't have to spend a night with your friends rolling characters, although that is part of the fun, according to many who play D&D. But if you just want to get started right away, then this kit is really the way to go. So you got a level 1 fighter and another one, and so one uses a great axe and javelins, and the other uses a great sword and a longbow. So they have a different set of skills, different weapons, but they're both fighters. Then there is a wizard, a high elf wizard. There is a halfling rogue. There's the hill dwarf cleric. So those are your 5 pre-generated characters that you get in this kit. So let's take a look at the Essentials kit. So the D&D Essentials kit for 2 to 6 players, which is special because 2-player D&D is usually not something you would easily do because one player always has to be the dungeon master. But this kit comes with like sidekicks that a player can use, so he's not the only character playing. But more on that later. So let's take a look at the box. There's a pretty cool piece of artwork on the front there, another dragon of course, and on the back you can see the contents. So there's the rule book in there, there's an introductory adventure as well, there is a double-sided poster map which is pretty nice, there's a dungeon master screen even, there's 6 blank character sheets in this one, so in this box you do have to roll your own characters. There's 11 polyhedral dice, so in this kit you get a lot more dice than in the starter kit. And there's cards with magic items, those sidekicks I mentioned, and other things. So let's open it up then. Okay, so first of all, here's another bag of dice, and this time we get a lot more dice. So, and they're all just translucent red. So nothing too fancy, but pretty nice. So you get 4 D6s over here. You get your D12, your D10, and this set does come with the D100 that was missing in the starter kit. And the D4, a D8, and 2 D20s for when you're rolling with advantage or disadvantage. So that's pretty cool as well. So that's a whole set of dice. Here is the adventure book, and it's also a soft cover, but it's bound like this, so it doesn't have these staples in the back. It's a bit thicker, and it's about the Dragon of Ice Spire Peak. So again, the same kind of layout that we're used to with some maps and nice illustrations. Plenty of maps to find there. So there's a whole lot of content there. There's some monsters again. So we have those with their stats. So that's pretty nice. I'm really looking forward to taking a look at that. There is a foldable little box to hold your cards. There you go. So that's pretty easy. And you just fold it and you have this tuck box for the cards that you can find in here. So they have these sheets and they have little dotted lines that you can fold, and then basically you can just rip the cards. And they have your initiative order, so 1, 2, 3 up to the 9. So you can give that to players to indicate the order in which they take their actions in combat and such. So that's handy. I usually use a different method, but this is this is new and nice to have. There are some conditions here. So you got the restrained, prone, poisoned, etc., unconscious and stunned. Magic charm combat, so that's what that is. That basically tells you how that works. So combat, step by step, and a charm here, and it also tells you what those conditions actually do. So that's pretty handy. The dungeon master can either keep them himself to check out what they do if he needs to needs a reminder, or he can hand it to the players. And here is some more of those conditions. So deafened, charmed, blinded, incapacitated, grappled, frightened, petrified, paralyzed, and invisible, with the explanation on the back. Here are these, I assume, these sidekicks. So we got all these characters. There's explained what they can do, and a bit of backstory and pictures as well. I really like these nice pieces of artwork here, cool illustrations with their names on it. So that's nice. So that's that one. Then we have these items. So we have quite a few of these leaflets in here. So we got, you know, like a potion of healing, potion of invulnerability, etc., wands and staves, magic items. So that gives you a deck of cards with all the magic items that you might encounter playing this game, this specific scenario. And here are some more magic items. Pretty neat. Even more, so there's plenty of sheets with magic items there. There's some quests, so quests explained here as well. Quest cards, it's a nice way to remember what you're up to. And here is the map, and I really like that. This is really something that that I like to do. I printed out this map for the starter kit when I didn't have this one yet. And it tells you all of the places on the Sword Coast that you can visit, that you'll play this game. So here's Phandalin, for example, Neverwinter, and yeah, so that's pretty nice to have as a reference, so the players know where they are in the world. And on the back here is Phandalin itself, so a map of the town with some of the most important landmarks explained as well with a scale here. So that's really nice to have. It's nice and big. So here is the rulebook in the bottom, also nicely bound like this. Softcover book with some more rules. So basically covers all the same rules as the starter kit, but it seems like there's more in this book. Probably to do with the character creation as well, because the starter kit already had pre-made characters. So it's thicker than the other one. And there's an appendix for the sidekicks. So that's interesting as well. And here is the Dungeon Master screen. And I really like it. It's thin though, it's just cardboard. It's not the thick kind that you get when you're buying a screen separately. But look at that gorgeous artwork. That is just beautiful. I really love that. So this is a nice, you know, view for the players to look at while playing. And of course the Dungeon Master will have these reference sheets printed on the inside with also all the conditions, so he doesn't need the cards at all. And there's yeah, all kinds of interesting info that you need when being a Dungeon Master. So that is super handy and really cool that they included this in this kit. And then of course finally some empty character sheets, because you will be making your own characters. So there we go, double-sided, and everyone can then roll their own characters. So you get some of those, you can copy them and have many, but you can also download them and print them out yourself. And a little leaflet, Welcome Adventurer, which is pretty nice. It tells you that there is a starter kit, this essentials kit, and these 3 books, which I'm going to show you next. And there's also some more books with all kinds of campaigns that you can play if you're into Dungeons and Dragons. And why not? Because it's a great game. Alright, that's everything in the essentials kit. Let's check out those core books. So this is the Dungeons & Dragons core book set for 5th edition. I already took the shrink wrap off because it was pretty beat up. So there wasn't much to look at, but it is a nice black slipcase that you get with all the books and the screen inside, so it's nice and thick. And on the back it's the same, but it came with this leaflet here that tells you what you get. So the 3 books, the DM screen, and the slipcase, of course. So yeah, let's take a look at those for those who have not seen that yet. So they all fit inside rather nicely. So I'll take a look at the screen last. So first of all, you get the 3 books here, and they're pretty big books. And so you got the Dungeon Master's Guide for 5th edition, which of course tells you everything you need to know as a Dungeon Master, how to set up your campaign, and so you get, you know, your world, creating a multiverse, creating adventures, creating NPCs, environments, what you can do between adventures, treasure, how you run the game, the Dungeon Master's Workshop. There's some random dungeons in the appendix, which is pretty nice. Monster lists, which of course you need. Some more maps and Dungeon Master inspiration. And in the back there is an index of all of that. So this book is, of course, it's in parts like all the other books are as well. And it has the same layout, the same kind of visual appearance, and lots of artwork. And it is beautiful artwork. I love the art in these books. So yeah, there is of course a lot to go through here. The pages are of a decent quality. So you got some nice artwork here. So, you know, it's really very thematic, of course. So you get money here, some orders, and everything that you need to know. So that's the Dungeon Master's Handbook. Let's see if there's anything really special to show you here. Of course, all the artwork's great. I just love, you know, browsing these books just for the art alone, even the older editions of Dungeons and Dragons. And yeah, so here's part 3, Master of Rules. And, well, there you go, some extra rules for how, I think that was line of sight, if I'm not mistaken. Half cover, yeah, see, like when you have cover when you're attacking something. Alright, so that's a pretty thick book, and this is really everything you need to know as a Dungeon Master. But again, with the starting kits, you've got enough information to start a campaign already. So you can, you know, if you're intimidated by a book like this, get the starter kit or the essentials kit and start from there. And, you know, you learn while doing this. This isn't something you learn first and then start playing. This is really something that you learn while doing. And it's okay to make mistakes. And it's okay to make up your own rules if you're unsure about something. That's what D&D is all about. It's the theater of the mind. And these rules are just there to set the basis. So cool, some dungeon maps there. That's pretty nice. Right, so that is the hefty Dungeon Master Guide, and I really like the finish of this book. I don't know if that shows well on camera, but it's almost like this is like a foil finish. So not the kind of very flashy, colorful rainbow foil that you see on card, but there's definitely something here. So that's pretty cool, nice finish. There is the Monster Manual, which has the same treatment. The blue and the lightning is very bright compared to the rest of the art. I don't know if that catches. It's not like it's UV, spot UV, but you can also tell here with the Dungeons and Dragons, the red is not just printed red, it's really like foil red, like shiny. This is of course spot UV. That's obvious, but this is something different. I haven't seen this before. That's pretty cool. So the Monster Manual, of course, has a whole lot of monsters in it, and yeah, what they do. That's basically what this is. It's a huge list of all kinds of creatures, monsters, races that you could encounter or that you can add to your games, with beautiful illustrations again. And essential for making your own adventures, essential for a dungeon master if you're, you know, getting further and further into Dungeons and Dragons beyond the starter and the essentials kit. Really, really beautiful artwork. And all these monsters. D&D is such a rich world and a rich story and rich, you know, just the sheer amount of monsters. That's really, really something. So I can't wait to browse through all of that. So the monster manual, also a pretty thick book. And then the player's handbook. And this is also, and I'm gonna grab my regular player's handbook to maybe you can see the difference on camera. So here's my regular player's handbook. It's got some character sheets in there and some stuff and some tabs, of course, for keeping track. But as you can see, this is a glossy finish. This is just the artwork. It's really nice artwork. All in spot UV here. This is the printed side that is just not glossy, and all of the rest is glossy. So it's entirely, it's not spot UV. It's just the entire cover is glossy. But this, see, has this glossy. Let's see if I can show you the difference. See, now there's the difference. See, this is matte and this is glossy, and the art is here. The entire art is glossy, and this isn't. But this is foil, and I hope you can kind of see the difference here. But it's really nice. I really like that. It's just a bit more chic than the regular books. And of course, the player's handbook is the book that the players need for creating characters here, as you can see. So it tells you about all the classes that you can become, all the races that your character can be, and it has some pictures of those races as well, and the spells that you can have. So everything you need to know for creating a character. And that goes on for a bit, because as you can see, there are quite a lot of races, characters, classes, and so the armor that you can wear, the weapons that you can use, and how that works. All kinds of tables here, trinkets and artifacts, mounts and vehicles, potions, and it's all in here. So this is a really nice reference guide for when players have questions and just want to learn more about what they can do. And here's the rules of magic. So if your character is a magic user, there's a lot of explanation on spells here. So it explains all the different spells that you can use. And of course, this is in alphabetical order, and not all characters, not all classes can use all the spells, of course. But that's explained in the classes part of this book. So there you go. So that's pretty nice. And in the back, oh, there's some deities as well, and a story about the planes of existence, how that works in D&D. If you want to delve a bit deeper, and of course a very handy index if you need to look something up quick. And here is another character sheet that you can copy, although with the binding that is a bit hard. But of course the starter kits have them, and you can find these online for free and just print them. So there you go. So those are the 3 books, the core books for playing D&D in a nice slipcase. And finally we have this nice DM screen. So I'll show off the art first. So there you go. There is a nice big red dragon on the front, flying over this island where he just set fire to that little city there, as dragons do. And as you will notice, it is also wider than this screen, quite a bit. If I put it on the side equally over here, I'll just slide it this way, so it's, you know, almost an entire panel that it's bigger, as you can see. So it is a lot bigger than this. And on the inside of the board, we do find the same information as on this board. They just presented it a bit differently, so it's a bit more, this is a bit more compact. But it's the exact same info as on the other screen. This has some extra, no, this is actually these three parts, yeah, it does have some extra art. So these conditions are all on this one panel here, and this is a panel and a half. So you get some more art. It's a bit more elaborate, but the information you have here is of course the same. But that's pretty cool, and it's of course a lot thicker cardboard, and that will be a lot more sturdy, and it will stand like that. Right, so that is what you get in the core book set. This is everything that you can get if you want to delve deeper into D&D. And I do recommend, you know, if you're completely new to D&D, then you should really start with the starter set here. This is really the easiest way to get started with D&D if you're completely new to it. And if you're a bit more experienced, then you can get this one. And this is the story is a follow-up to that one. So that's a really nice way to continue with that. And then if you want to go all the way, get that Dungeon Master book, Player's Handbook, or just get the entire core book set, which is this really nice looking slipcase. There's a deluxe edition of this as well, which simply has a different slipcase artwork, and all the books have a more stylized cover art. But I really prefer these nice illustrations over the stylized art myself. So that's why I got that set. Right, that's it. So that was a quick look at the starter set, the Essentials kit, and the core book set for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon to get notifications whenever I upload a new video. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time on Board Game Heaven.